Hello, Hackusama. This is Subsocial project. Let me introduce and describe what we have built for Hackusama. During this hackathon, we created 4 palettes. That includes session keys. It's not related to validator session keys from Substrate, moderation palette, donations, and pay subscriptions. So let's go through each of them and describe in short. So session keys allows you to create proxy accounts that acts on behalf of main account, and this is very useful from UX perspective of the dApp when you don't want to bother user with asking, please confirm your transaction and type your password for the main account. So for the less security, user can create a session key, each private key stored in local storage of the browser, and web UI on mobile don't ask user for password and just silently sign transactions on behalf of main account. It's inspired by this palette inspired by a proxy palette from Substrate, but it adds additional functionality such as maximum limit of tokens that could be spent by a session key and expiration block. So on a particular block, session key will be expired. Another palette that we developed during Hackusama is moderation. Moderation allows to block any content either by IPFS CID or by post ID or space ID. Space in terms of Subsocial is a blog or channel or group and just a generic form of structuring posts on Subsocial. Or you can even block an account. Moderation, it's not a censorship. It doesn't work on a protocol root level, but it rather allows owners or moderators of a community, aka space, to moderate block or allow content inside of that community, not on the protocol level. So the idea is that any user account can report any entity, as I said before, either by seed or post ID or space ID to the moderators. Then moderators of this space or owner can review reports and suggest a status for this entity, either blocked or allowed. And then owner of this space or person that has access to make a final decision on the status of entity can finally decide whether to block or allow the entity. If entity is blocked, then if it's posted, it will be removed from the space, and if in future it could not be added to space. If it's IPFS CID, then any new post that has this CID cannot be added to the space. If it's account, then account is not allowed to create new posts in this space, and so on. The third palette that we developed is donations, and the goal of this palette, along with subscriptions, paid subscriptions palette, is to let content creators to monetize their content in a more natural way. So it's quite similar to what you can have on such sites like Patreon or Substack, where people can randomly donate to content creators or to posts or even to comments. So in our case, you can donate either to account, space, post, and it's possible for space owners or post authors or accounts to define their default wallet that will be used for donations. And if the default wallet is not specified, then account ID of account or account ID of a space owner or account ID of post author will be used for donation. It's also possible to specify settings, default settings that either allow or just allow donations on a particular space or post, and specify the minimum and maximum amount per donations that can be accepted. And the first palette is paid subscriptions. It means that content creators can create subscription plans that their supporters, fans can use to make recurring payments to the content creators they like. So in this way, fans or patrons can show their support to these content creators. There are predefined term periods when this recurrent payments will repeat. We have built-in daily payments, weekly payments, monthly, quarterly, and yearly based periods. And Palette also provides content creators with such feature like they can specify to what wallet payments will go by default, and also for every plan, it is possible to override this default wallet and specify a custom wallet where the transfers will be made from subscribers. And also, subscribers can define their default wallet that will be used to make payment for their subscriptions. And it's also possible to override the default wallet per subscription. So let's go to change to Extrinsics and show what methods we have in each palette. So let's start in the same order as before with session keys. So here you can see that you can add a key. You just specify what account is a session key and time to live in number of blocks, and optionally can set up a limit in balance. For example, this account can spend only 500 tokens and live for the next 200 blocks. So the next method is to remove this key that we already added. And it's quite simple, just one account. And third method is to remove all keys defined for this main account. In this case, main account is Ferdi. And the fourth last method is proxy. So it's similar to proxy palette or Subsocial, where you can just execute any extrinsic on behalf of the main account. So, I mean, the session key account will execute any call on behalf of a main account who added this Ferdi key as a session key. So let's go to the next palette. Next palette is moderation. So for moderation, we have first method is report entity. It allows to specify a content by any type of ID, like by IPFS seed, for example. You can specify IPFS seed and something, and then you can specify even raw text that contains bytes. Also, you can specify account, so any accounts that should be blocked within the scope space. And then you can specify another space that should not be allowed to create it inside of this space, because it will be possible to create subspaces. And then you can specify a post, so you're reporting a post inside of this scope / space. For example, if you want to report a post, you just specify the ID of a post, and then you specify the ID of a space and what space you are reporting this post. And optionally, you can specify a reason, for example, IPFS CID to the text that describes why you're reporting this entity. So then moderators of this space where this entity has been reported, they can review the reports by any of entities. Any entity can have multiple reports, and multiple entities can be reported to the same space. So moderators just look at the state. Let's see what state we have here. So for example, for moderation, we have reported IDs by space. So this the storage shows the IDs. Currently, there is no reported entities. IDs of reports with detailed information of this report about reported entity inside of this space, and moderators can get the report ID and specify the suggest a status for it, how they see it. So for example, they reviewed the suggested status for entity with some post ID 123 within this space, and they report, they're suggesting that this entity should be blocked. Also, they can suggest that it should be allowed if everything is fine. And then it's optionally they can specify based on what report they're making this decision. So next method is to update entity status. This method is usually should be called by a space owner or admin that has rights, permission to make a final decision about the entity status. So again, in similar way, you just specify the post by ID and scope in what space it was reported. So then the method extrinsic will check that this space is owned by this account, or this account is an admin of the space, so it can update the status, and then you specify the final state like blocked or allowed. And the next useful dispatches are delete entity status. Again, this method can be called only by space owner or admin. For example, you specify that something should be blocked and then later decide that it should not be blocked, so you can again specify the post, for example, and ID and let's say space. So you will delete the current status by this entity in this space. And next methods are you can specify settings for this palette, for the space in this palette. So for any particular space, like 4, 5, 6, you can specify that there should be such a threshold. Okay, it's something doesn't work from apps. So in this case, we should be able to specify that after X number of blocks from the moderator. So if, let's say, we set this value to 3, and if 3 moderators out of X suggest that the entity should be blocked, then palette will automatically block this entity even before owner or admin of the space decides to block this. So let's go to the next palette, and it's donations. In donations, it's quite a small palette. It has such methods as donate. The first argument is recipient. Recipient could be account, space, or post. So it means that you can donate either directly to account or to a space / blog chat, blog group, and so on. Or you can donate to a specific post. In case of Subsocial, even comments are posts, so you can donate either to a root article or to comments and so on. And if you're selecting this post, then you specify ID of post and the amount of tokens that you're donating. And then optionally, you should be able to specify a comment. Also, we haven't implemented creating of comment yet, but it's planned. So next method is set donation wallet. It allows for recipient to set up a default wallet that will be used to accept donations. So again, as with donations, you can specify account, space, or post. And for example, you want to specify with it for this space, you want to use Charlie as a wallet that will accept donations. And then alternatively, you can remove donation wallet if it exists. And the last dispatchable here is to update settings. Similarly to moderation, donations palette has its own settings per space, so it's possible to specify that, for example, per any scope, like per account, per space, per post, you can set up its own default settings for donations. For example, for post 1 to 3, you want to say that donations are enabled or disabled, and then you can specify the minimum balance amount for this or maximum amount that can be accepted. If amounts not specified, either each of them, one of them, it will not be checked. So the last palette is subscriptions. For subscriptions, we are using schedule palette from Substrate, and with subscriptions, content creators or space owners or admins can create subscription plans. In subscription plans, you specify the space. In what space you create in this plan, then you can specify a custom wallet that will accept payments from subscribers, and then price of this subscription. For example, your token equals to $1, and you specify like $5 per, let's say, $5 weekly, and then you specify content IPFS that points to off-chain content with title, description, and image for this plan. So UI can show nice grid of subscription plans for their users. Then it's possible to delete plan by its ID. It's very simple, extrinsic. Then space owner can set up a space wallet. It's similar to donation, so this wallet will be used to accept subscription payments from the subscribers. Just specify space ID and accounts that will be used for subscription payments, and then you can specify. You can remove space wallet. So in the previous action, if you created space wallet, and here you can remove it, and then let's go to subscribers. So subscribers can subscribe to a plan that was created by content creators, space owners, and they can also specify custom wallet that will be used to make payments by subscriptions, and then they can unsubscribe by specifying ID of subscription. Also, they can update subscription. It supports update of a custom wallet for this particular subscription. And some last method is withdraw subscription payment. So this method will pay required price defined by the plan found in this subscription. So by subscription ID, we get details and plan ID, and then we get the details like price and period. So we know how much to pay for this subscription based on its plan. So basically, we reviewed all the 4 palettes that we created for Hackusama, and the goal of our palettes is to add create such features for open social networks that allows people to moderate their communities in transparent way and to improve UX thanks to session keys. So users will not be asked too much about confirmation of transactions, and plus 2 palettes that allows content creators to monetize without advertisements, like donations and paid recurrent subscription. So what we have about Hackusama, we also improved web UI of Subsocial. It includes that we improved our custom solution for transaction button, and we created a new substrate context. And also we implemented such functionality on UI that shows and hides spaces and posts. It works in integration with substrate functionality. So on substrate, we can change a flag of space or post to hidden, true or false. So UI respects this field and doesn't show hidden spaces and posts. And also, if a post is hidden and it has some comments, then comments also will not be visible. Also, we used Redux for storing comments and to have instant update on the UI even before a comment has been created on blockchain. So UI already shows that a comment placed on the screen. Also, before Hackathon, we had been using 2 UI components. One is React Semantic UI, and it was shipped legacy with Polkadot apps because our first version of UI was heavily based on Polkadot apps. So we just created lots of components in React Semantic, and then we started to use Undesign version 3, and at some point before Hackathon we had some components in semantic UI, some components in undesign version 3. So during hackathon we get rid of semantic UI completely and even moved from undesign version 3 to version 4, and it improved speed and responsiveness of our UI, and also bundle size of a compiled application. And also we migrated to Substrate version 2, RC4, so our UI works with this Substrate version, and plus we added support for Hackusama ID identities, and we're showing labels for if this account is a validator or tag committee or console member. So let's show on UI quickly what we have. So this is how our new form looks like. So it has this is a form for creating a space. It allows you to specify a space name, a URL, unique handle, and avatar. So here we're creating a blog for Hackusama. We just specified name and image and some description. Let's scroll a bit. So here we're just creating transaction, will solve this space. We specified tags and description in Markdown, and just to say that this form is improved from UX perspective, and we're using design version 4. It's a UI component library for React. So here we created our new space. Here you can see that it has its menu where you can be fold and fold. And here we just writing a new post to this newly created space. So this post we can specify title and image for the post and description. Description can be in Markdown, so just copy paste in the article from Hackusama, so applying some format into it. And also we can specify tags for posts, so they later can be found by these tags. And if this is a cross post, then we can specify original URL of the post. So here we send in transaction, and once transaction is included in blog, so we see the post over here, and you can see that we can upload and vote the post. Let's upload it. Okay, waiting for confirmation. It's uploaded, and then we just copy paste in something for comment. Also with comment you can use Markdown syntax. So comments user experience have been improved, and CSS and styles have been improved as well, comparatively with the version before hackathon. So lots of small improvements have been done. For example, for UX purposes, we added that this is a post author, so it can be easily seen that post author commented on the post. And also we improved this drop-down model for the current user, so you can hover over your current account and see what other options are available that are loaded from Polkadot extension. So we have Polkadot extension here, and here we're loading yet another account from Polkadot extension, so you can switch between these accounts. And here we're just replying to our previous comment. In this way we're showing that we have tree-like structure of comments, much like on Reddit. And you can upload download comments as well as a post. So we downloaded. Here you can briefly see that the comment has been downloaded immediately on UI, and then after it confirmed, it just changed the account. So here you can share the article to another blog. For example, if you're a manager of a couple of blogs, you can share the current post and specify what is your opinion about this post, and here's a preview of the post you're going to share. So here we're not sharing to save some time of demo, and here we just switch to another account. So let's let's do some actions from another account. So let's upload. Okay, we uploaded from another account, and let's upload a post from another account. Okay, done. So now we're writing a comment from this new account. So you can see, as I mentioned before, we implemented this instant update on UI about state. So even before post was confirmed, it's already appeared on the screen for UX reasons. And when we integrate our new palette, that is called session keys. So this confirmation window will not be shown for such extrinsics like create a post, write a comment, upvote something, fall of space. Just do it seamlessly underneath, and user will just see that the user interface updates immediately, and only in case of some errors here on the left bottom corner, some warning or error will pop up that it failed to write your comment to the blockchain. So let's wait. Comment confirmed. Now we have these actions like upload, download, reply, and so on. And we can switch back to previous account. Just check that currently under this account we see that he uploaded this comment, and when we switch to another account, the download will highlight because another account, previous account, downloaded this comment. So this is also UX that we worked on. And also, let's see that we have integrations for Hackusama identities. Let's go to Hackusama. For example, here we just showing list of validators from Hackusama. You can see that this is a Hackusama chain, and this is a console member. So you just copy paste some accounts, insert here into the URL, because such as we are not a console members, we cannot log in through Polkadot extension and show you this functionality fully. So we just copy paste your address to URL and see that it loads identity information from Hackusama. So it shows that this is a validator and this is true because we copy pasted it from the Hackusama state. And let's check our console member address. So again, we just go directly to account that should be console member, and it shows label console member. Plus here you can see the information about this account. It's the same as in Polka.js apps. And let's check one more account because he has some other information. And you can see that now we have quite a different information plus two labels, console member and validator. So thank you for your attention.